And when he was going up to the sandbar, we know from the GPS that he was kind of circumnavigating things like this. What we know from the GPS is that when he was coming back, he was doing a lot more straight through traveling. Now, the waterways, of course, are different from the roadways. We don't have speed limit signs in the same way on the water that we have on land. But there are rules that are to be followed. Even if there is no speed limit, one of the rules is that you must operate your vessel at a safe speed for the conditions. I already talked with you about the fact that there's a rule you are to operate your vessel on the starboard or right-hand side of the channel. George Pino operated his boat on a plane, which means that it's basically just skimming the surface of the water. He's gotten so fast that the boat is just traveling on top of the water. He's operating it on the port side, meaning the left side of the channel, not the right. And as he was going through that channel, heading back to Ocean Reef, just as he had his GPS on the way up, his GPS was on the way back. The GPS on his boat tracked his every move, his direction, when he changed direction, and it tracked his speed. The GPS on his boat was like a silent witness, watching and recording his every move. So you'll learn in this trial a little bit about how GPS works. For now, I will just leave you with this. Properly interpreting it can tell you moment by moment where the boat is going, how fast it's going, and how long goes by from one time when you change direction to the next time you change direction. So what winds up on the way to, yes, this is the GPS data that we have from the defendant heading, before he leaves, heading up this way to where Elliott Key is, and then you see these little, like track mark, these little blue dots, those are track marks. Those show every time the boat is being changed in direction. This is where he originally gets to at Billy's Point, but it's too shallow for one of his friend's boats to be there. So he heads up further north until they get right here. Then, and he gets there at about 3:47. From there, the GPS is turned off because the boat's anchored. What do you need your GPS for? At 6:18, the GPS is fired back up again. And we know, track mark, he's navigating his way through here. And now look at what we see here. Straight lines, track mark, straight line, track mark, straight line. A very different driving pattern to get back than to get up there. So what do we know happens once he starts entering into Cutter Bank? We know that he is going straight down this way, right? There's a channel marker here, channel marker 14. Here is channel marker 15. This would be the channel, and he's hugging the left side of that channel. And what we know is that before he gets to channel marker 15, right, at 6:37 and 28 seconds, he has his last track mark. That's the last time he changed direction. And what did he do? He tried to avoid channel marker 15 right here. But it was too late. Let me back up a bit. So here we see the defendant's track lines heading up, and here he is coming back on the return track. And we see one track point here and one track point here, which is less than 30 feet away from where that channel marker is. And what we know is that when he leaves this track mark, he was going 43 miles per hour. This last track mark, right before he hits the channel marker, he's going 47 miles an hour. He's literally accelerating through that channel. What is this? All these little track marks here? This is after his boat crashes into the channel marker. Because he was not wearing a thing called a kill switch, which you attach like to your waistline or something so that if you get ejected from the boat, it kills the engines so that nobody will get chopped up by a propeller. Thankfully, even though he was not wearing a kill switch, which is why we see the boat is still moving because the engines are still running, thank goodness nobody got chopped up in this case. To give you an idea of what it looks like for a 29-foot center console vessel to smash into a steel pole as fast as George Pino did, what you'll learn in this case is that we all have to talk like sailors a little bit in this case, all right? So starboard and port, right and left. So this is the starboard side of his boat. And what happened is he initially hits with the front of the vessel right here called the bow. Boats, unlike cars, are not made of metal. They're made of fiberglass, which is plastic. And unlike metal that crunches and crashes, plastic flexes. So when he first hits that, the boat flexes. And what winds up happening is the boat rides up on the channel marker and literally is gouged open by the board that's at the top of that channel marker that says 15. And it rips the boat right open. When it comes to the other side of the channel marker, it's taking on water like crazy through this gigantic, gash mark in the boat. And as the boat is in the water and taking on all this water, it flips upside down. This is a picture of the vessel at final rest. You can see that huge gaping hole in the boat. Now, in the aftermath of this crash, it was chaos. The only person who was keeping a lookout for this vessel was the defendant. His wife, who was seated next to him in the center console, she was on her phone. And the kids were all thinking that George Pino's going to get them home safely. They're not keeping lookout for danger. This all came as a shock to them. It should not have been a shock to the defendant because the evidence will show that 9 seconds prior to impact, George Pino changed direction just 5 degrees to port, just a little nudge to the left side of that channel. And when he did that, he was on a complete collision course. An absolute collision course with where channel marker 15 is. For 9 seconds, From this moment, when you're out on the water, as you'll learn in this case, you can see that channel marker ahead of you, if you're looking. For 9 seconds, he never changes direction. He smashes right into it. And to give you an idea of how long that is, that's how long he was on a collision